Hello, DPEE families, and welcome back to the Principal's Office. Hola, familias de DPEE, y bienvenida a la oficina de directora. Si necesita traducción al español, sígueme en la pantalla. Haga clic en el botón de subtítulos aquí. Luego haga clic en configuración. Clic subtítulos aquí y clic Auto Translate. Cambia a español y estás listo. Te daré 30 segundos para hacer eso. Families, I'm giving 30 seconds for our Spanish-speaking families to get set up. Okay, and let's get started. So we have our agenda here on the left. First, we're going to go over important dates for you all to know. Some family feedback based on our first week of Prep Academy, which was super exciting to see you all. Some announcements and some scholar focuses that we're working on in school so that you all can support us with those at home. So getting us started, some important dates for you all to know. The first official day of school, as you all know, we begin officially tracking attendance next week. So that first official day of school is August 30th. And again, a reminder, that is all 1 p.m. dismissal days. So we will again have our arrival at 7:45, and then our dismissal will be at 1 p.m. all week next week. After next week, we will start with our full day schedule, which will be Monday to Thursday, 7:45 to 3:30. And then Fridays will always be a 1 p.m. dismissal moving forward after next week. We have no school for Labor Day and Rosh Hashanah, which is September 6th, September 7th, and September 8th. Our first full day of school will be September 9th. That is a 3:30 p.m. dismissal day. And with September 10th, that Friday, being a half day as well. On September 15th, Latinx Heritage Month begins, which we are super excited about. Stay tuned for events and updates there. On September 16th, we have no school as we are observing Yom Kippur. And then moving a little bit further ahead to October, we have no school on October 11th, which is Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay. Some feedback from this week. Our focus as a team of families, of teachers, of educators, of lovers of our scholars is to make sure that we are having a safe and smooth arrival and dismissal process so that we set our scholars up for success for the day. And we also send them home happy when it's time to go home. So some glows from this week. Scholars are being dropped off on time, right at 7:45. Our arrival is running smoothly. We're getting scholars in the building and ready for learning right away. Our walkers line, you all are lined up and spaced out for arrival and dismissal consistently every single day. So we are honoring that physical distancing that we need outside, but also lining up to the right of those double doors consistently every single day. So shout out to you all. Where we can get better for arrival and dismissal, the car line. When you come in a vehicle, make sure you enter to the right side closest to the double doors in our parking lot, and you stop at the cones to check in with the DPEE staff member before either going around and starting the car line for dismissal or before dropping off your scholar. Second piece of feedback for us, we need 100% of scholars picked up by 1:15 on half days and by 3:45 on full days. After 1:15 and after 3:45, your scholar is marked as a late pickup. Leaving this up for 1 second. Okay, wanted to make sure you all had our contact information as we want to make sure it's as easy as possible for you to reach all of us. So on the left, all the way to the left, someone you all are very familiar with by this point, Ms. Roche Jimenez, our administrative manager. That is her email and the number where she can be reached. Right next to her, we have Miss Felice, our operations manager and leader of the operations team. Again, her email and phone number below. Then we have Miss Monahan, one of our principal in residences, her email and phone number below. And then you have me, Miss Jones, our interim principal and principal in residence as well, and my email and phone number where you can reach me. So I'm going to leave this up for a little bit so that you can make note of any numbers that you may need. For clarification, Ms. Rocha Jimenez handles any enrollment documentation that you are currently working on. So any physicals, immunization forms, those should all be sent to her. And so you can email her those directly, or you will also in a minute receive our email that goes straight to our operations and leadership team, where you can send any documents there as well. You can also call her to make an appointment to drop off your documents in person. So again, a very important number to have in case you are tying up some of those enrollment documents. All right, let's keep moving. Some announcements. Let's start on the left with some general announcements. At the top, belts. We realized that our uniform flyer said that scholars needed to wear belts, and that was a little bit more tailored to middle school and high school students. For our scholars in elementary, belts sometimes make it a lot harder for them to do things like go to the bathroom. And we want to make sure that that's as easy and as quick as it possibly can be. So if your scholars are wearing fitted pants, they do not need to wear a belt. If their pants are a little bit larger and they need something to hold them up, that is totally fine. However, you are free to not send your scholar in a belt if their pants are fitted to them. Totally fine. Please review the family orientation slides that you will find in our newsletter. Those are from our virtual presentation that we had on August 18th with a lot of information about COVID safety, health and safety protocols we have in our building, homework that's coming up, sample schedule of what your scholar's day looks like. So a lot of information in there. Please review that and let us know if you have any questions. If you were not able to attend your in-person classroom orientation visits on August 19th, please make sure you follow up with Ms. Rocha Jimenez to get your uniform shirts. Uniform shirts, those 3 polos that we talked about in our enrollment meetings, were passed out that night. And so we want to make sure that everyone gets their 3 uniform shirts from us that we are gifting to you. That is a typo there. That is supposed to say keep contact information updated. So whenever you change your phone number or your email, please let us know, whether that is texting us, calling us, or letting us know during arrival and dismissal quickly that you have a new number. And also emailing our DPEES_info listserv. That is a great way to update your phone number and email as well, which we'll get to right at the bottom there. In case you need to pick up early pickup is before 12:30 p.m. on half days and before 3 p.m. on full days. After that time, you would need to wait until our regular dismissal time to pick up your scholars. Again, that is to ensure that we know where everyone is going and we have enough time to prepare for dismissal without having to also facilitate early pickups at the same time. Again, as we mentioned before, after 1:15 on half days and 3:45 on full days, scholars are marked as late pickup. Any consistent late pickups will be followed up with via Ms. Monahan or myself, typically a phone call or a family meeting if necessary. Again, any questions, updates, concerns, phone call requests that you have, please email our DPEES_info@democracyprep.org email. That is the quickest way to get in contact with us during the day. And also it has multiple people's eyes on that listserv. So that reaches Ms. Monahan, myself, Ms. Felice, and Ms. Rocha Jimenez all at the same time. And so that's a great way to get multiple people's eyes on whatever it is that you need. To the right, starting with some health and safety updates and reminders. Make sure that you are filling out that New York City Department of Education health screening form daily when you drop off your scholar. If it is just your scholar entering the building, for example, for arrival, you would just fill that out for them. If you have an appointment, you would also need to fill out that form for you as well. Check our Instagram for an update about filling out our COVID consent form. That is very important for this school year as we are having weekly testing, as we let you all know during our enrollment meeting, and that is weekly COVID testing. So check our Instagram for that link as well as our newsletter, and you're going to send your confirmation code that you receive once you sign up with RRT to DPEES_info@democracyprep.org. As much as possible, send your scholars to school with their masks. They can have a Spider-Man mask, they can have a Frozen mask, They can get real expressive with their masks. We just ask that as much as you can, send them to school with masks to help support some of our materials that we have here. However, if they don't have one, that is absolutely fine. They will be provided with a mask when they arrive to school. If your scholar is potty training, but also just a best practice, we ask that you do pack your scholar an extra pair of clothes in their backpacks in the event of any accidents. And again, this is not just for scholars that are potty training, could also just be something that spills throughout the day, and it's a great option to have an extra pair of clothes so that we do not have to call you and interrupt your day to bring an extra pair of clothes for your scholar. So as much as possible, packing them an extra pair of uniform shirts and pants in their backpack so that they can change if needed is greatly appreciated. Just wanted to stamp this, we are a nut-free building, so all snacks, lunch should not be containing nuts if they are being sent from home. We make sure that with our school foods team, we are not providing scholars with anything that contains nuts, and so we ask that families who are sending food to school with their scholars do the exact same thing. If in the event there is something that is sent that does contain nuts or is perceived to contain nuts, we will just give you a call and follow up to reset that expectation. We do have scholars in building with severe nut allergies, and so that supports us to make sure, again, we can keep everybody healthy and safe while they're with us. We talked about this already, to limit the amount of physical presence in our building, and also to honor the COVID contact that is currently happening, making sure we are eliminating that as much as possible. Our building visits are by appointment only, and you are required to submit your health screening form if you are entering the building for any reason. So again, you would contact either the leadership team, the operations team, Ms. Roche Jimenez to set up an appointment, and then you would fill out that health screening survey as soon as you arrive. All right, and our last slide of the day, wanted to make sure you are all up to speed on what are the things we're focusing on in the building. This list might get a little longer throughout the year. We'll also hold certain events where you all can come in and learn more about the curriculum that we're teaching, some of the culture focuses that we have across our building and in classrooms. So don't worry, you are going to get way more information than just this. However, in our principal's office, we wanted to make sure that you are getting some of those updates here as well. So on the left, some of our culture focuses right now, based on what we've seen this week, is that scholars are following directions the first time. That's something that Ms. Monahan and I have been into all classrooms to reinforce. And again, is greatly appreciated for you to be reinforcing at home, as it's something that we give feedback to scholars often. The second culture focus we have is raising a silent hand when I have something to say. Scholars are used to kind of just calling out whenever they feel something or say something or want to react to something, and we totally understand that. Sometimes we're really excited or we have a really strong reaction to something that we hear. And because we have so many kids, and because it's just a best practice when in a larger group, we ask that our scholars raise a silent hand whenever they have something to say or need something. And so as much as you can enforce that at home, in preparation for them coming to school, that would be amazing. Getting to the academic side. For kindergarten, beginning of year things to focus on, making sure your scholar can write their name, making sure that your scholar can count and identify numbers from 1 to 50. So doing some quick counting practice when they get home, or quick counting practice on the way in the morning. Having some number flashcards for them to identify some of those numbers. For ELA, writing and identifying uppercase and lowercase letters, A through Z, as well as identifying their sight words. We go by the Fry's First 100 list for sight words, which I will link in the description box below. Again, you can print the sheet that you see there or put them on flashcards and have scholars practicing that every night. Sight words are must-know words for scholars and drastically increase scholars' access to reading and literacy. And so we push scholars' understanding of sight words and recognition of sight words at the beginning to eventually get them to the point where they can read more challenging books throughout the year. And the goal is that scholars do not need to sound out sight words. They just see the word and they say the word. And so we'll often say that to scholars, you see them and you say them whenever we're talking about sight words. For first grade, same thing, making sure scholars can write their first and last name. We saw a lot of scholars in first grade who could do this already, so shout out to all of you. For first grade, counting and identifying numbers to 100. Eventually, we will focus on counting and identifying numbers over 100 as well. For first grade, writing and identifying uppercase and lowercase letters, A to Z. And then first graders, by the end of their first grade year, should be able to identify Fry's first 200 sight words. So that includes the first 100 from kindergarten and then a second set of 100 for first grade. And again, I will link that list in the description box below. All right, families, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate all of you for all of the things that you do. Thank you for your support this week and the ways in which you took our feedback, gave us feedback, asked questions, and just supported your scholars and our school team and having a smooth Prep Academy week. I am so grateful to be here on this team and with all of you, and our teachers and our staff are the exact same way. And just really excited and looking forward to all the work that we are going to do together and all the beautiful memories that we are going to make this year. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye.